All right, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be visiting one of my favorite places in Canada, Western Canada. If you've not had the opportunity to visit Western Canada, this is definitely a must-see trip. I would urge everyone to head out west at least once in your lifetime. From majestic mountains, emerald lakes, whale watching, beautiful fields of wheat, there's definitely something for everyone. Before we get started, I do have a few tips for any of our new viewers today. This is a live presentation, so there can be moments when your screen may freeze. Please be patient. It should correct itself in about 30 seconds. If you are viewing today on a handheld device, you may want to unlock your screen view and turn your device sideways, just like that, to landscape mode. That's going to give you the best view of all the photos we'll have today for you. And we do also have a Q&A chat function that's available on the right-hand side of your screen. At the end of our presentation, we will have a Q&A session with our experts today. So please post your questions in the chat and we will ask them during this session. Okay, so joining us today, we have Lindsay and Judy, both are from Air Canada Vacations. Plus, we will have Elena from our Self Vacations office in Surrey, BC. So we're going to start with Judy and Lindsay. Thank you both for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? We'll start with you, Judy. Oh, you might need to unmute yourself.
Of course, technical difficulties for me. Sorry. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. We're very pleased to be here with our friends at Self Vacations. My name is Judy Munden. I'm the area sales manager for Air Canada Vacations in Atlantic Canada. And I've been with Air Canada Vacations for the last 15 years. And I look after Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland, and Labrador. I worked as a travel agent for many years prior to joining Air Canada Vacations and actually started my tourism career with Brewster Transportation and Tours, working on the Columbia ice fields out west in 1982. So look forward to telling you all about the great things that Air Canada Vacations has to offer in Western Canada. And thanks again to the team at Self Vacations for having us here today.
Thanks, Judy. And what about you, Lindsay?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. And thanks for having us. So my name is Lindsay Sand. I, of course, work for Air Canada Vacations. I'm based in Calgary, so I have a strong knowledge of Western Canada, of course. And I started my tourism career in ski, so I know a lot about the ski resorts and the mountains. So I'm excited to talk to you today.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So I believe we have a quick video to start us off. James or Kim, if you can cue up the video, that would be fantastic. It's a great video. So many beautiful places we have in Canada. So speaking specifically about parts of Western Canada, we know that they're very popular for Canadians. Can you tell our viewers, Judy, what it is that you feel draws people to want to visit Western Canada?
Sure. As you can see from that video, it's the iconic Rocky Mountains, it's the wheat, it's the great outdoors, it's the glacier-fed lakes, the waterfalls, the rivers, the canyons, the hot springs, and the wildlife. And we can't forget the Northern Lights, of course. We actually have a Northern Light adventure, which happens in the fall. We can talk about that later. Also the farmlands and the history of the gold rush and fur trades and all the work that had to be done to connect the Canadian Railway through those massive mountains. So, of course, the impressive hotels like the Fairmont Resorts. We can't forget the wineries in the Okanagan Valley. When I think Western Canada, I think year-round natural beauty, and I just want to spend as much time outside enjoying all that nature has to offer, regardless of the time of the year. It's a great time to go anytime, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Lindsay, what would be a personal highlight for you when you're thinking about your travels in Western Canada? Do you have a favorite spot to be in for a vacation?
Yes, well, as Judy mentioned, Western Canada has so many special spots. I personally love traveling to the coast. Places like Vancouver and Whistler are great for the outdoors, and of course, it has the ocean. But I feel really fortunate because I live so close to Banff and Lake Louise, so I visit them quite frequently. And I love, we call it Big Sky Country out here. I love the Big Sky Country. And it's not just about hiking and skiing. That's what everyone thinks about when they think of Western Canada, and we do have those fantastic hikes and those great ski resorts, but there's something for everyone. So within 3 hours from Calgary, you can go whitewater rafting, anything from a lazy float to a fast flowing river rapids. You can visit wildlife centers like the Grizzly Bear Refuge up at Kicking Horse, or there's a wolf sanctuary near Golden. We've got aerial parks, we've got via ferratas, and if you're not familiar with what a via ferrata is, it's basically assisted rock climbing. So you can get to those really tough areas where it's normally reserved for the experts, but you're attached to a safety rope. We've also got world-class fly fishing. You can snowshoe under, the moon, under a moonlit sky, skydiving, canyoning, cave exploring, mountain biking, golfing. We can't forget about golf. Or even you can go scuba diving in an underwater ghost town near Banff. So everything that I just mentioned is like right outside the door of Calgary. So we're so lucky to have this part of the world.
That's awesome. That really is. That's a lot to put on your list for one visit.
Yeah.
Do multiple. So, in your opinion, ladies, from your personal travel, what would be each of your absolute must-see and must-do things when traveling? And I'm just going to throw out some cities. So, Judy, I'll start with you. Victoria, what's your must-see, must-do in Victoria?
Well, I love Victoria because I'm here in Halifax and we're an ocean city, and so is Victoria. So I have a kindred spirit connection, I think, with Victoria. But when I think of Victoria, I think of the amazing weather they have year round out there. I think flowers because they have that butchered gardens where you can go and see the the beauty of florals throughout the entire 12 months of the year. They also have a great British influence in Victoria. So high tea, I'm a tea drinker, and that's kind of a fun thing to do for me. A lot of our viewers today may not realize that the largest Chinatown in Canada is actually in Victoria. So that's another thing. We can't forget the seafood. So Pacific salmon, of course, would be something that you'll want to taste while you're in Victoria. They have a lovely harbor. And of course, you can do whale watching in Victoria as well. And again, the weather, year-round golfing. Air Canada Vacations have golf packages, 4 days, 3 nights, including 3 nights hotel, 2 rounds of golf, golf cart, and car rental. So it's one of the only areas in all of Canada that has year-round golfing. So that's exciting as well.
Oh, that's great. I love Victoria. Actually, I love them all. So I can't even say that there's one that I love more than the other. But Lindsay, I'm going to ask you, what about Vancouver and Whistler?
Well, right off the bat, my favorite hotel is the Fairmont Whistler. It has great access to hikes, and it actually has these amazing outdoor hot pools. So it's perfect to relax after a long day of hiking or skiing or whatever tickles your fancy. And quick tip, if you do go, they have a eucalyptus spa at the Fairmont, and it's absolutely incredible.
Oh, I'd have to try that.
Yeah.
And Lindsay, I'm going to go back to you for Calgary since it is your hometown. What's your must-see, must-do items in Calgary?
Well, I think everyone probably knows by now, we all love the outdoors. So a great day trip in Calgary is rafting on the Bow River. So there are actually companies who will provide the raft for you, and they'll drop you off and they'll pick you up so you can just relax and take in the sights. And you can raft actually right through to downtown, and then you can get off, drop off your raft, or they'll pick it up for you, and then you can head to, a local pub or a restaurant. And the section of the river is pretty mellow. So you'll need a life jacket and a paddle, but you won't be rafting Class 5 rapids, so don't worry about that.
All right.
Yeah, and then if you are planning a trip to Calgary in the summertime, you might want to try booking it during Stampede. So if you're not familiar with Stampede, it's the largest outdoor show on earth. We normally welcome over 1 million people each year. So as locals, we love to take part. There's free pancake breakfasts around the city each day, lots of concerts, and of course the grounds to explore.
Awesome. And what about Edmonton, Judy? Since you told us that you spent your early career out there, in that
Right.
area.
We were at the Columbia Icefield. So, first of all, with Edmonton, I don't know if people realize that it's actually the center of Alberta, considered nearly at the center of Alberta. So, it's considered the city of crossroads because it's cut in half by the Saskatchewan River, and it bridges the prairies to the mountains and the south to the Great Canadian North. But one of the most amazing things about Edmonton is the 17 to 18 hours of sunshine they have during the summer months. So that's pretty phenomenal. The waterfalls and the canyons, over 50 festivals annually. And the big attraction in Edmonton, of course, is the Elk Island National Park, where you have free roaming bison, moose, deer, elk, and over 250 species of birds, believe it or not. And for those shoppers, you can't forget the West Edmonton Mall. And then close to Edmonton, we have the Banff and Jasper, both unique small towns not far from Edmonton with lots to offer year round. And between those two great little towns lies the Columbia Icefields, which is the largest ice fields in North America, believe it or not. I know that it's eroding quite quickly, but it is still considered the largest ice fields out there. And you can enjoy various excursions that are offered. You can do a massive all-terrain vehicle tour on the glacier. You can do a walking tour as well as on the Columbia Icefields. And they also have the Columbia Icefield Skywalk, which is pretty cool. It wasn't there when I worked there, but have to get back to see that soon. Just make sure you dress warmly regardless of the time of year because it does get cold up on those glaciers.
Okay. And Lindsay, I'm going to go back to you. What about Saskatchewan?
Well, Saskatchewan should not be overlooked, so definitely add it to your bucket list. So starting off with Saskatoon. Saskatoon is such a cool spot. It's a small city, but it has a big city feel. They have a few different attractions, that are more than a few, but I'm going to name a few here. You can take in the Ramey Museum. They have a lot of pieces from Picasso, so if you're an art lover, this might be a good choice for you. You can visit the Winooskewin Heritage Park, which is a Cree word for living together in harmony. So this is a great way to learn about the Indigenous cultures of the area. And finally, Saskatoon is also known for its live music scene. So you can check out the Saskatchewan Jazz Fest, which is the largest music festival in Western Canada, and that runs every June. Now let's move on to Regina. So Regina has the RCMP Heritage Centre. It's the only training academy for the Mounties in all of Canada. So that if that tickles your fancy, that might be a great centre to visit on your trip to Regina. And then not far from Regina, about 65 kilometers to the west, lies a city called Moose Jaw. And you can do a tunnel of Moose Jaw. There's two different tours. There's the Passage to Fortune, which is a 50-minute journey of early Chinese immigration to Canada and their triumph over adversity. And then they have the Chicago Connection, which sounds really cool. This is also a 50-minute tour, and it's a tour of the Prohibition era, focusing on the connection between Al Capone, Chicago, and Moose Jaw.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Judy, my home province is Manitoba. What's your favorite must-see, must-do items in Manitoba?
Well, when we talk Manitoba, we've got to talk Winnipeg, of course, because of the fur trade and the agriculture out there. And of course, Winnipeg has the Canadian Mint Museum, or the Canadian Mint is there, and the Assiniboine Park Zoo, where you can experience Journey to Churchill and go nose to nose with the polar bears. And Manitoba is all about polar bears, of course. And the wildlife adventure package that Air Canada Vacation offers is pretty cool. So you spend 2 nights in Winnipeg and sometime 3 nights in Churchill as well. This operates between October and mid-November, but the coolest thing is that you'll have a guide with you. 12 meals are included, round trip flights as well. 2 days on one of those cool tundra buggies, watching the polar bear viewing, and you get to dog sled as well. So that's pretty cool to do while you're in Manitoba. And we also have another cool thing that we offer in Manitoba. It's called the Beluga, the Bears, and the Blooms tour, which happens in July and August. So again, opportunity to do some polar bear watching, a beluga boat tour, and a dog cart excursion. So lots to do in your wonderful home province.
Yep, there sure is. I miss it. I miss it every day that I haven't been able to go back. So what type of vacation packages would you recommend if you are traveling to Western Canada? Judy?
So we have lots of options and something for everyone, I would like to think. So we have independent escapes, golf packages, guided tours, wildlife adventures, as I just mentioned, urban getaways, and fly drives, just to name a few. And probably one of the most popular packages that we offer is a fly drive package, and it's called Mountains to Ocean, where we fly you into Calgary and you end up in Vancouver. And it's actually a fly drive, so you have all the essentials. You have your flight, your hotel, and your car rental, and the rest is up to you to explore at your own little pace. So you can own pace, so you can stop all along the way and take whatever iconic pictures that you'd like to do, or climb whatever falls that you'd like to do. So that's a cool thing that we offer. And another thing that we're offering, which is a must, I would think, when you're going to Western Canada, is a fly rail. And we offer it where you fly into Calgary, you spend 2 nights at the Banff Springs Hotel, then you get on board the Rocky Mountain Air, and you can choose between Silver Service or Gold Leaf Service. And then we put you up 1 night in Kamloops as well. And the last 3 nights you spend in Vancouver, and then we fly you back to your home city. So there's something definitely for everyone that Air Canada Vacations can get for your customers and our mutual customers out in Western Canada.
Okay. And Lindsay, I know that there's lots of different options for touring, such as fast paced, slower paced, depending on what people are looking for. Can you sort of give us an overview of that, of the different tours and the paces?
Absolutely. So thanks so much, Judy, for touching on a few of our travel styles. In addition to what she mentioned, we also have guided tours. So these are really great if you want to sit back and get all the details taken care of for you. 2 of my favorite ones are our guided camping trips. So we have 2 of these. One's in Banff and Jasper, and one's on Vancouver Island. So we provide all the camping equipment, so you don't need to waste space in your luggage, which is great. Now, if you're looking for a package where you have a lot more time on your own to explore, I would recommend checking out our urban getaways. These are 3-night durations in cities all across the country, so you can spend some nights in the urban hotspots. And then finally, we have RV packages as well. So these really allow you to explore freely.
Okay, awesome. I myself am super intrigued by the camping package. Can you tell us some more about that and a little bit about the RV packages as well?
Sure, I'd love to tell you about that. So we have, as Lindsay mentioned, 2 camping adventures. It's called, the first one's the Best of Banff and Jasper camping and hiking trip. So it's 9 days, 8 nights. It departs every Sunday in July and August. We provide flights to Calgary. You stay in a hotel 1 night prior to the camping and hiking adventure in Calgary, and 1 night in a hotel in Calgary as well. The cool thing is, Sherry, is that we provide the private 2-person tent. We provide the camping gear, hard foam mattress, and utensils. All you need to bring is your own sleeping bag, believe it or not. All your airport transfers are included, local transportation. And the cool thing is, these are small groups of 12 people. So if you have a family consisting of 12 people, you have your own guided tour. There's a guide that's with you. 19 meals are included. And then the second one that Lindsay had mentioned is our camping and hiking trip that it's called Beaches and Glaciers. Again, 9 days, 8 nights. There's 3 departures in July to early September. This time you're flying to Vancouver. Again, 1 night hotel prior to the start of the camping and hiking, and 1 night at the end in a hotel in Vancouver. Again, the private tent for 2 people, airport and local transportation is included. Again, small groups of only 12 people, 19 meals are included, 2 days of ocean kayaking with a guide, of course. And again, your camping gear, hard foam mattress, and utensils are included. All you need to do is bring your own sleeping bag.
Awesome. I am super interested in that, actually, for next summer.
Yeah. So can I tell you about the RV discovery?
Oh, sorry.
I forgot to mention those. Yeah, sorry. So this is really exciting for us because it's the first time that Air Canada Vacations has offered RV discoveries. So this is new for us, just new in the last couple of months. When we're talking Western Canada, we offer RV discoveries in Vancouver and Calgary, but we are also offering them right now in Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax. These RVs that we have right now accommodate up to 6 passengers. It's 9 days and 8 nights. The first night we put you in a hotel near the airport. The next day we transfer you between the hotel and the rental office of the RV. And then you spend 7 days in your RV, and it includes 1,600 free kilometers and also allows for a second driver. And then the last night we put you in a campground near the rental office, and we transfer you the next day from the rental office to the airport. So stay tuned. We expect that this will grow and get more opportunities and more cities to do this wonderful way to discover Canada with Air Canada Vacations.
Yeah, I think that's going to become more and more popular. Now, considering weather, what months would you consider to be the most popular for traveling to Western Canada? Judy?
It depends on what you'd like to do and what you'd like to see. For me, there's no bad time to go to Western Canada. Winter, of course, is ski season. Summer is great for hiking and kayaking and being outside. Now, of course, it's going to be more busy in the summertime, but the shoulder seasons are also a great time to visit, and it's less crowded. So anytime, in my opinion, is a great time to visit Western Canada.
Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about skiing. Lindsay, can I ask you, are there organized packages for skiing or different options if someone is wanting to look at a skiing package? Or
Yes, I'll take this one. I love to ski. So our packages include flights, transfers, accommodation, and lift tickets. So it's everything you need in one stop. You can book these as early as today for this winter. So if you want to get a jump start on your ski package, definitely talk to your Self Vacations agent. The packages, they come in 3, 5, or 7 night durations. And it's really important to mention our packages include 1 free checked bag per person. So that's huge savings for you. Plus, we have a best price guarantee so you can book your ski package with confidence. Now, we sell a lot of Canada's best ski resorts. So in the West, we sell Ski Big 3, which is Mount Norquay, Sunshine, which is in Banff, in Lake Louise. And then we also sell Whistler. We have Sun Peaks in Kamloops and Marmot Basin in Jasper.
Okay. Great. And I saw that you have this wildlife adventure that has grizzly bear viewing and a farewell harbor lodge package. It sounds very unique. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, I'll take this one. So while Lindsay's off skiing, I'll be in the wilderness looking for bears. So first, what we do is we fly you into Vancouver and you explore the great city of Vancouver. Then the next day, we take you on a flight to Port Hardy. You'll take a tour of Johnston Strait and Robson Big Ecologic Reserve. Then the next day, you'll head out after breakfast into the heart of Great Bear Rainforest, and you'll have a full day bear watching excursion. And then the next day, you can choose between more bear watching or a tour of Johnston Strait and try and catch a glimpse of some of the marine life that you could see there, which is sea lions and orcas or humpback whales, all of which would be phenomenal to see in their own wilderness, of course. And then on day 5, you can choose between several different tours like a guided hike or sea kayaking. And then you'll get on a flight the next day and head back to Vancouver, where you'll spend the night before heading back home the following day. So this is a great tour for people that are into the wildlife, environmentalists as well. So perfect opportunity to see these beautiful mammals and animals in their own habitat.
Okay. My last question for the evening. What is each of your best insider tips when you're traveling to Western Canada? And I'll start with you, Judy.
Okay, so best tip I can say is that reach out to Self Vacations and find the right package and destination that suits you, because all of our Go Canada products this year were very, very popular in Western Canada, and we expect the same thing will happen next summer as well, and even the winter for the ski. All of our Go Canada products, our packages, include 1 free check bag, as Lindsay had mentioned. We include free seat selection and bonus Aeroplan miles. So if anybody's not a member of Aeroplan, make sure they join Aeroplan, which is free to join, and then you can earn Aeroplan miles as well. And the big thing is about all of these packages, they only have to pay a deposit at time of booking, and balance is due 45 days prior to departure. So don't miss out. If you're planning something for next summer, reach out to Self Vacations. They can put a deposit on it for you, and then the balance won't be due until 45 days prior, and then you have confidence that you already have your trip to Western Canada booked for next summer or this winter, whenever you're ready to go. So along with Self and Air Canada Vacations, we can meet your needs for Western Canada.
Awesome. Thank you, Judy. And Lindsay, what's your insider tip?
Can I give you 2 tips?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, the first one is if you're a big hiker, the best app that I've found is an app called All Trails. And so this will map out all of the trails that you can go and utilize wherever you are. I'm sure that you can use it across the country, but it's really prominent here in Western Canada. So make sure to check out All Trails. And then the second tip that I have might seem a little bit silly, but I always recommend for friends and family that are visiting me is to leave some room in the bags for shopping if you're visiting Alberta. Both Calgary and Edmonton have excellent outlet malls right by the airports, and we have only 5% tax, which is great savings. So if you need anything for your trip, either when you land or right before you leave, these are great options.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. And thank you for joining us. We're going to have you back for our Q&A session in just a few minutes. And right now we're going to have Elena from our Surrey, BC office. She's going to share her vacation memories. She experienced Western Canada. Well, she lives in Western Canada, but she also experienced traveling in Western Canada this summer. Elena?
Hello, everyone. My name is Elena Miller. I work at the Surrey, British Columbia office of Salop Vacations, and I have been with the company for 9 years. Every year, I usually travel at least 3 or 4 times down south to the places like Mexico, Caribbean islands, sometimes Europe, but it was not to be this year. As you all know, global pandemic brought international travel to almost a complete stop. However, it didn't stop my family and I from traveling. Only this time, it was all local travel. We reside in British Columbia, one of the most beautiful provinces in Canada, and we took a great advantage of it. We visited Sunshine Coast, Vancouver Island, beautiful Okanagan with its famous wineries. And when I thought I was done, Air Canada Vacations presented me with a great opportunity to stay at the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise in Alberta and explore Rocky Mountains region. I took my mom with me and we had a great time. We traveled by car, but you can do it as a fly and drive vacation too, depending on where you live. The first stop in our itinerary was Yoho National Park. First 2 photos is what's called Natural Bridge. Kicking Horse River's rushing water carved softer rock underneath bridge's hard limestone over many centuries, and we can see this wondrous shaped bridge as it stands today. In this picture, you can see me sitting on the edge of the bridge. This was amazing experience. Natural Bridge is located on the way to Emerald Lake. And looking at the next picture, you can see where the name of the lake came from. The color of the water depends on the time of the day, season of the year, sun, clouds, and angles. And as a result, you can witness 2 completely different shades of blue or green on the same day. Those 2 photos that you just saw, they are not photoshopped. You can see exactly what we saw, emerald green and turquoise blue in one day on the same lake in a span of 20 minutes. And here is my mom with the Emerald Lake enjoying the outdoors. Second stop was in Yoho National Park again, and it was at Takaka Falls. They are 373 meters high, making it the 2nd tallest waterfall in Canada. The name translates to wonderful in local Cree language, and it's fed by the melt glacier water just behind the waterfall. You can come very close to this waterfall or even go behind it. If you are there in the summertime, when it's hot, I would definitely recommend this experience to go and to refresh. However, do bear in mind that you will emerge almost completely wet. I recommend you to bring water poncho if you didn't want to get soaked. If you happen to be there close to the sunset time like we did, you can possibly witness a beautiful rainbow. You can see it halfway through that waterfall over there. On the same day, we arrived to Lake Louise. We didn't go to our room first. I wanted to show my mom this beautiful lake before it gets dark. And here is the first sight of the lake from the Fairmont Hotel grounds. It was just jaw-dropping for my mom. She had never seen anything like that. We were so glad that we didn't wait until the morning to walk around the lake. because that evening the waters were so calm and we were able to take wonderful reflection pictures. In the next couple of pictures, you will see what I'm talking about. And they couldn't have been done later because the weather became a bit windy. And when that happens, reflection pictures just can't be seen. And here is the Fairmont reflecting off of the lake in the evening time. Next morning, we explored the hotel. From the lobby to the hallways to the restaurants to the art on the walls. It's a very elegant hotel with great people working there, paying attention to every possible detail. I can attest to that. The staff was very attentive and very helpful. Hotel grounds are immaculate. COVID-19 protocols are followed everywhere. We did have to wear masks as well as all the other staff and guests of the hotel in all public spaces, and reservations for the gym, pool, and some restaurants are mandatory. Look at the view that we had from our room in the next picture. The hotel has very comfy cushions on the windows, and every morning I would have a cup of tea staring at the beauty of the lake. That was one of the most liked pictures on the Facebook. People were just admiring what you can see from your window that looked just like a painting. This hotel is very historic as well. The first building here was constructed on the hotel grounds in 1890 as a one-story cabin. Despite 2 fires, this tiny cabin will become today's famous Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. Interesting fact, Canadian Pacific Railway hired professional Swiss mountain guides for people who wanted to climb nearby mountains and ski them as well. And these guides taught thousands of visitors and locals for the next 55 years, many of whom stayed at the Fairmont Hotel. Also, many early films were shot at Lake Louise, and stars visited that hotel in droves. Older people will know what I'm talking about. Mary Pickford, Alfred Hitchcock, Marilyn Monroe, and Superman Christopher Reeve were the guests here. But back to modern days. Many of you heard of the famous Moraine Lake. It's located just 13 kilometers away from Lake Louise. And the Valley of the 10 Peaks is so famous for its beauty that it's pictures on the Canadian $10 bill. But did you know that to be able to see this wonder, you need to be very lucky or be very early riser and have a strong will? I had a conversation with one of the Air Canada Vacations representatives who visited Moraine Lake just before me, 3 or 4 days before we went. They stayed in Banff, and she had to get up at 4:30 a.m., arrived to Moraine Lake at 5:30 a.m., only to find out that the parking lot is already full, and that was during COVID times, and only Canadian could visit at that time. You can't line up anywhere there. You have to keep coming back and drive by and hope that you will luck out next time and the road will be open again. But none of this nonsense if you're staying at the Fairmont Hotel. They have very convenient shuttle for hotel guests only. You can reserve the time slot to go there and to come back to pick you up. And for more adventurous people, I also found out that Fairmont has rental electric bikes, and you can easily take them for an outing to Moraine Lake tomorrow and do it that way as well. You can see the unbelievable beauty of this lake. You can stay here for an hour just to climb the rock pile and take some breathtaking pictures like we did, or hike around the lake and surrounding areas for a day. That's one of my favorite pictures on Moraine Lake, just taking some silly jumping pictures. You can also go on hikes around Lake Louise from a small one. The next couple of pictures will show that you can also rent canoes on both lakes. Mom and I did canoeing on Lake Louise, and for hotel guests, canoe rental on Lake Louise is offered at discounted rate. Another reason to stay here. And then you can also go on many hikes around Lake Louise, from the small one, a 30 minutes duration, to Fairview Mountain lookout that even my 75-year-old mom could do. This picture showing us with the Lake Louise and Fairmont at the background, breathtaking view. Or you can go to 2-3 hours hike to Agnes Lake Tea House, one of the more popular hikes in the area. When you can reach the tea house, you can try their famous sweets. Next day, we drove to Banff. There are 2 ways to get there from the Lake Louise: faster Highway 1 and Bow Alley Parkway, a slower highway, but you can possibly see the wildlife and enjoy a leisurely ride. We took the Bow Alley Parkway, and that was our first stop. It's called Morant's Curve. It was made famous by Nicholas Morant, a staff photographer for the Canadian Pacific Railway, and you can see why. Bow River and the mountains on the background make it a stunning photo every time. Sometimes you can catch a train in this picture as well, and the whole area just a photographer's paradise. When we approached Banff, I took a little detour, go up the Tunnel Mountain Drive with a great lookout to Mount Randell and the Hoodoos. Initially, I was a bit disappointed that I had to take the photo against the sun. You can see Mount Randall in all its glory here, but the picturesque clouds over the mountain made a huge difference. And now that's one of my favorite photos of this trip. You can also see Hoodoos at the bottom left-hand side and in this picture, next picture as well. Closer look here. Hoodoos are unique rock formations resembling towers of rock. Very neat. The next couple of pictures is Banff and the Bow River. Just walked around the town, very picturesque, very neat, enjoyed it a lot. Bow River, green mountain water with the autumn colors, spectacular. We also made a stop at the famous Grizzly House. And if you want a suggestion on the restaurant where to eat in Banff, that would definitely be the spot. The fondue lovers, it would be highly recommended if you like a fondue. We had a cheese fondue, pictured here with my mom in it. But they serve all kinds, including some very exotic fondue dinners. Hunter fondue, for example, will have buffalo, wild boar, and venison meats in it. And exotic fondue will have shark, alligator, rattlesnake, and the like. We continued after lunch to the Bow Falls, and you can see Fairmont Banff Hotel surrounded by the woods in this next slide. Unfortunately, Banff Gondola was closed that day, and I highly recommend that you include it in your itinerary if you visit Banff. But instead of taking the gondola, we took a scenic drive around to Jack Lake and the Minnewanka Lake instead. So here is my picture with the Bow Falls and the next couple of pictures with the lakes. And on the following slide, you can see also that's Lake Minnewanka, and the next one is the Castle Mountain picture. I really like this mountain. It's very uniquely shaped, and you can see it from many points along the highway. Last day of the Rocky Mountains adventure took us to Icefields Parkway, or Highway 93, connecting Lake Louise and Jasper. It's arguably one of the most breathtaking highways in the world. It was named by National Geographic as a drive of a lifetime. You do need to take time driving it. One-day drive is the minimum, but you can spend easily 2-3 days stopping for hiking, camping, or staying in the cabins or lodges. Along the highway, you can see a variety of blue and green water mountain lakes, like this is the Bow Lake and Peto Lake. Those are the most famous ones. Then the glaciers in the previous picture, it was a Crowfoot Glacier, and it's shaped like a foot of a crow, hence the name. The canyons, the next picture would be of Mistaya Canyon, and that took our breath away. Look at the depths of this canyon and the shapes that the river had done carving this canyon. And good thing is that all those attractions are very close to the road. You don't need to spend a lot of time getting there. For example, Mistaya Canyon was only 20 minutes away, and the other lakes and glaciers were right on the highway. And of course, the famous Columbia ice field is located here as well. We couldn't resist to stop and check it out close and personal. And my tip to you, doesn't matter what time of the year you go, even in the summer, you have to bring warm clothes and sturdy shoes. Here is my mom getting ready to go up. Very cold, very freezing. Gusts of wind coming from the glacier are just very unpleasant. We had to bundle up in 3 layers of warm clothes. It was absolutely freezing in the middle of September. As you climb to reach the bottom of the glacier, you can see the signs showing where the glacier was located. The way from the parking lot in the 50s and 60s to the 80s, halfway up the mountain, like it's pictured here, and where it is now. You can go that climb approximately 10-15 minutes up the mountain. Unfortunately, the Athabasca Glacier is getting smaller as the climate warms. The glacier recedes about shocking 5 meters per year, and people can come back several times during their lifetime and see the big changes. It was my very first time on the glacier, and I took a very happy selfie here. And then in the next couple of slides, you will see it, posting it on Facebook with the note, "What else does the girl need to be happy? Take a photo on the glacier." It was one of my highlights, since have never done that before, and here is the picture. You can do a variety of activities here as well, and I would recommend to do a glacier walk with a professional guide. Definitely not by yourself, as it can be very dangerous and treacherous. And here and see how the glacier walk works. Or you can do the glacier skywalk. You might have seen it on in one of the slides before when Air Canada Vacations were presenting, and observe the same glacier from a distance or take some fun pictures from a glass platform. The last stop on our itinerary was magnificent Athabasca Falls close to Jasper, and you will see a little video here. This is just breathtaking. My mom here, they actually built the stairs, the steps in between the canyon, the sides of the canyon, so you can take your picture here like we did. The next picture is the canyon there at the Athabasca Falls as well. And of course, I have to mention the wildlife. You can see bears, moose, elk, mountain goats, just to mention a few, along the highway in and around Banff and Lake Louise. We happened to see a bear near highway, which made my mom very happy because during our trip, it was the only big animal we got to see. And here is the little video of the big guy. He is just chewing the grass and enjoying life. There are many other things you can do in the Rocky Mountains that we didn't get to do this time, like the hot springs. Many were closed due to COVID or open for the guests staying in the hotel by the springs only. Or some winter activities, of course, because we were there in September. One of my colleagues from Salov Vacations, Lamia, who lives in Calgary, she mentioned to me that her family goes skating on Lake Louise every winter. I think that's very cool, something I would definitely like to do. Others mentioned not only popular downhill skiing in Banff and Lake Louise, but also cross-country skiing, which I'm more fond of. I think my next trip to Rocky Mountains will be coming in the near future in the winter time, and I hope I inspired my listeners today to visit this area as well. There is so much beauty to see and so many things to do for all ages. Please call me and I would love to chat with you about traveling in Canada and in British Columbia and Alberta in particular. And if you need any help putting an itinerary together or any insider tips, I will be happy to help you and share my knowledge with you. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Elena. Your photos were beautiful. It looks like you had a fantastic time. I'm very jealous.
Thank you, Sherry. I loved it, every minute of it.
Awesome. All right, Shannon, I think you've got some questions for our experts for the Q&A today.
I do, Sherry. Yes, thanks,
Awesome.
ladies, for your great information there. I've been out west myself to the Vancouver area and Victoria, but not to Alberta or Manitoba or Saskatchewan yet. So definitely at some point. I do have some questions here. I'm actually going to start with Judy.
Okay.
I have a question here. Someone asked about the camping trips. Do the camping trips include equipment, and how big are the groups?
The camping trips are a maximum of 12 people. The only thing that you have to bring is your sleeping bag, and we include everything else, including the tent. So there's a mattress, there's all kinds of wonderful gear that you need, but only thing that you need to bring is your own personal sleeping bag. That's it. We've
Wow.
got the guide, we do the hikes, we include your meals, it's all included.
That's amazing. I'm not a camper, but that sounds
It makes it easier
organized
to
at
camp when you
least.
only have to bring your sleeping bag, doesn't it?
Yeah, takes a lot of the stress away, I guess. So
Yeah,
that's
it does.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, and another one here for you, Judy. Someone was wondering if there are any central and southern Ontario packages.
We have all kinds of packages. So we have urban getaways in the major cities in Ontario. We have family fun in Ontario, which does the Niagara Falls and Toronto area. We have the culinary Quebec and wine country in Ontario, so the Ontario wine country. We have a rail tour that does Toronto to Ottawa. Again, Niagara wine country is another tour. Golfing, of course, in Ontario as well. So there's lots of options. And all they have to do is pick up the phone and call your agents there at Sell Off Vacations, and they can give them more details on all of those. But urban getaways and city stays and all of that fun stuff. So a little bit of everything for all areas, and not Ontario. We have Canada product from coast to coast, right from St. John's, Newfoundland, all the way to Victoria, BC. So.
Oh, that's amazing, Judy. Thanks so much.
No
And
problem.
definitely our agents across the country can help, and Alina can be contacted at surrey@selloffvacations.com as well. So, Lindsay, I have a couple questions I'm going to put to you.
Okay.
The first one here is, what time of year is the Calgary Stampede? And second part to that is, how early does someone need to book for that?
Well, I mean, okay, so first of all, answer the first part of the question. It goes next year, 2021, it is July 9th to 18th. So it's always around that time of year or the time of the month for Stampede. You can book it up to 10 months in advance if you wish. Now, it kind of depends on what you want to go see, because some of the events fill up a lot faster than some of the other events. So I might recommend talking to your Sell Off Vacations agent just to see what kind of event you're interested in. Some of the bigger concerts will sell out faster. If you're interested in the grandstand or the rodeo, you know, the last night or the last few nights are always the busiest. So that's something to keep in mind.
Right. Okay, perfect, Lindsay, that's great. And one more for you here. Someone asked, do I get a full refund if we go into lockdown again? So basically, if they have a trip booked and then we go into lockdown and they can't travel, they're wondering if they would get a full refund.
Well, first off, let's all knock on wood that does not happen again.
Yeah.
Second of all, we have our CareFlex Plus program. So this is included in packages as long as you book by November 15th. So it's already included. So say the worst comes to worst, we have to go in lockdown again. You get a full refund as long as it's canceled 25 days or more prior to when you leave. If you cancel less than 25 days, say a week prior, that'll be in credit. So it depends on when you cancel the file.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
At least there's some flexibility there, though. That's great. Aline, I have a few questions here for you, so I want to pop over to you.
Yes.
The first one here is, how hard is it to drive through the mountains?
It was very easy drive for us. It's if you're doing it in the summertime when the weather is nice, it's absolutely gorgeous and easy drive. It's getting more interesting, I would put it that way, if it's a bad weather or if it's a winter time. But mind you, this highway that I was mentioning, Highway 93 from Banff to Jasper, in the winter time, it's closed more than it is open due to the weather. Jasper is not easily reachable at that time of the year on this highway. So I would suggest that you probably plan your travel accordingly, check the weather forecast. But as far as driving in the mountains, you do have to be a confident driver to do that.
For sure. Okay, Alina, thank you. Someone else asked here, can we buy transfers from Calgary to Banff?
Yeah, absolutely. You can buy bus transfers between those two cities. However, my recommendation would be hire a car. I mean, rent a car, because that will be much more convenient for you and won't cost much more money.
Okay, that's some good insight. Perfect. Someone else asked a question about accommodations. They said, are there hotels in Lake Louise besides the Fairmount? And the second part to that question is, are the larger resorts open this year?
Yeah, so of course you don't have to stay at the Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. It is quite expensive and it books well in advance as well. There are lots of smaller hotel and lodges and even hostels. We visited actually a little restaurant there in a hostel, and I was very impressed how clean it was, how well organized it was, and it doesn't cost too much money. So if you're on a budget, there is all kinds of accommodation there in and around Lake Louise. And the second part was bigger hotels. Yes, well, Fairmont, Fairmont is a large hotel and it is open. So yeah, absolutely. Some of the hotels do limit amount of people, maybe at 50, 60, 70% capacity due to COVID, but yes, they are open.
Okay, excellent. Next one here is, someone asked if they're allowed right now to travel to Alberta and Manitoba as tourists from Toronto or Ontario, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. British Columbia and Alberta do not have any restrictions on interprovincial travel.
Right. I think Manitoba might, though.
I'll just interrupt. It depends on where you're coming from for Manitoba, but Manitoba doesn't allow right now anyone to come from the eastern provinces of Quebec and Ontario without doing a self-isolation for 14 days. If you live in Eastern Canada, in Ontario and Quebec, and you wanted to go to Saskatchewan, Alberta, or BC, you would not have to do the 14-day quarantine currently.
Right.
Upon entry. Yep.
Perfect. Sorry. And that's kind of ever changing, so it's best to check with your agent if you're looking to book anything, because that's definitely changing frequently at times. So just make sure you check on that. The next one here, Elena, is, and I think I can answer this, but someone asked, are these packages detailed on the Air Canada website? And they certainly are. There's actually a copy of their brochure on there as well. But if you wanted to reach out to Elena, she certainly could probably send you the links and maybe talk to you a little bit about those. Again, her email is Surrey, Surrey @salofvacations.com, which is on the screen there as well, popping on and off. I'm sure Elena would love to help you with that. And then, Elena, this is the last question for the evening. Someone asked, why are the colors of the lakes so different?
That's a great question. My son actually, he was not with us when we were traveling, and he was asking, all the lakes have this amazing blue and green color in this area. And I did tell him that, yeah, the turquoise watercolor comes from what's called rock flour, and it's carried into the lake by the meltwater from the glaciers. And that dust stays suspended in the water, reflecting light and creating green or blue shades. And I also read an interesting study that suggests that as the glaciers disappear, less what's called rock flour is being produced, and that turns lake less blue and more transparent. Very sad. And so I urge you to go and check it out for yourselves before it disappears.
Right. Okay. That's great, Elena. Thank you so much, ladies, for answering those questions. I certainly appreciate it. I'm going to put it back to you, Sherry.
Okay, thank you so much, Shannon. Thank
Thanks.
you, ladies, for joining us. Judy, Lindsay, Elena, thanks for sharing your memories. Thanks, Shannon, for the Q&A.
Yep.
And thank you to all the viewers for joining me today. If you've posted a question and it didn't get answered, Shannon and Pam will be on the chat function for about 10 minutes after the presentation to answer those questions. You are also more than welcome to call Sell Off Vacations tonight. The phone lines are open until 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can reach one of our agents by calling 1-877-735-5633. And you can also reach Elena, our Western Canada expert featured today in our Surrey office. And her email is Surrey, and it's Surrey, S-U-R-R-E-Y, @selloffvacations.com. So today's presentation will be posted on our YouTube channel, which is My Sell Off Vacations. And on our channel, you can also view any of our past presentations, as well as the latest resort and airline COVID safety videos. So please join us next Wednesday, we're going to be talking about cruising with Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and I hope you can join us then. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.